I had an entirely different episode scheduled for today, and at the last minute I decided to take a detour. I mean, that's life anyway. Yes, detours. Unexpected turns that give us something a little different. Maybe a different view of the highway, a different perspective. But the reason why I turned left is twofold. First, I have a cold at the moment, which you can probably hear in my voice. Yes, a cold, which, let's be honest, it is a podcaster's worst nightmare. Our voice is everything. It's our fingerprint delivered in sound waves painted by a microphone. I actually record backup episodes in advance just in case something comes up, such as a cold or a last-minute performance or something. And one would think that this would be the time to drop in such an episode. But I'm not, which leads me to the second reason why. Mental health. Okay. I'm not really following you, Chad. This podcast has always been about, mental and emotional health. Well, I had an email this morning from someone that said, where I live, we don't talk about mental health. It's just something that we keep to ourselves, something that we just have to work through on our own. They went on to thank me for all the things that we talk about here on the podcast. I have to be honest, it broke my heart, truly. So, to the emailer, whose initials are M.A., this is for you, and for everyone else that wishes we could talk more about our emotions. It's interesting, we can so easily talk details about a physical illness, like a cold or a flu, yet we often tiptoe around discussing our emotional and mental health. If we have a cold, it's as if everyone has been there before. Oh, goodness, they say. I'm so sorry to hear that. And then the list of all of their suggestions begin. Have you tried herbal teas? Yes, I'm drinking one right now. How about an ice bath? No, not really my thing. Dried lizard soup? Wait, what? That's a thing? Really? I'm going to go back to bed, but thank you though. I really appreciate it. We all know that feeling of coming down with a cold, that runny nose, that heavy head, and general fatigue. We try our best to take care of it as soon as possible in order to feel back to normal again. Now, can you imagine if this feeling lasted for months or for years? Sadly, this is an all too familiar situation for many that are dealing with emotional health issues. Those who experience such of these issues, they often feel exhausted in ways that they can't be cured by a long nap or chicken soup. So let's talk. Even with my stuffy nose and my sore throat, we are going to talk about mental health, since for some of you, you feel like you're in a place where you can't. So, let's talk about how mental health has more in common with the common cold than you think. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. We all have an old-fashioned remedy for our ailments that we swear by, like the magical chicken soup that's supposed to make your flu go away. But when it's beneath the skin, when it's something that others can't physically see, like sadness or feeling lonely or anorexia, we typically don't have a quick fix in our medicine cabinet. We often feel alone in our struggles, and we worry that no one will understand us if we try to even share how we feel. We tell ourselves, oh, you know what? It'll pass. It'll go away. And we think that it'll be better to just stay silent rather than potentially being judged. But the truth is that no matter our problem, someone else does understand, even if we don't know it yet. It's okay to lean into these dark moments, to allow the weight of them and to not be afraid of being seen for who we are. Even though I have a cold, I'm still Chad Lawson. I'm still me. But it's this sickness that has momentarily displaced me. Does that make sense? And we often think that we can only rely on our own strength to get us through emotional turmoil. But what if that isn't the case? What if I needed help getting through this cold? What if there are those that understand and can relate to your struggles who won't even flinch when they hear them? It's okay to let people in from time to time. And believe it or not, it doesn't make us any less strong by reaching out to seek comfort from those around us. I'm going to say that again because it's so key. It doesn't make us any less strong by reaching out to seek comfort from those around us. Or even just talking about how we feel. Don't stay silent in your suffering. Did you hear me? Please don't stay silent in your suffering. Life is hard enough without piling on the added pressure of bottling your emotions up and keeping them to yourself. Don't stay silent in your suffering. You know, when a cold hits, we feel like our previous selves have just been completely taken away, right? Leaving us in this stuffy wasteland of misery. And it can sometimes feel quite similar when we're struggling with an emotional or a mental illness. We don't feel like ourselves by any stretch, but it's only because we're in the center of the struggle. We're surrounded by this thick, snotty mess, if you will, with no escape. Luckily, unlike a physical ailment, this fight can end when the right treatment and resources are given, allowing us to eventually be ourselves again. We may not always understand what's going on with our internal battles, and that's okay. And sometimes it can feel like a lonely and confusing journey to figure all of this out. So what do we do with this? Yes, it's okay, but how do we navigate this? When we need help getting through these times, and goodness knows, as much as we love it, Grandma's favorite soup, it isn't really going to do the trick. Well, it begins with one of my favorite words, reach. It starts with the biggest step, which is the reach. Reach out for support and reach inward in reflection. I'm going to say that again. Reach out for support to reach inward in reflection. You have to have both, or this process won't work. Having a safe space to express yourself, to talk openly and to get perspective, this can affect everything that you're feeling. Whether it's a group therapy or an individual practice or even an online support group, it's the reminder that you are never alone in your struggle, that other people are with you in this, if not also going through this just as you are. Picture it this way. Imagine you're sitting at a table and you are so thirsty that your throat is just dry. It's like a desert, and your lips are chapped, and you feel as your mouth is just coated with chalk. But right in front of you is this beautiful glass of water. Do you see it? Can you picture this in your mind? And it's just sitting there. And it even has your name on it. It's been reserved for you. All that's needed is for you to reach for this glorious glass of water. Now, sometimes it's not as easy as reaching for a beautiful glass of water. I get that. But when you're feeling so low, when you're feeling so thirsty, so in need, it can seem like the simplest thing in the world. The same analogy can be applied to reaching out for emotional or psychological help. Oftentimes, it's the simplest step of all, even if in reality, it's infinitely more challenging. Knowing that there is support available and trying to incorporate it into your life, that is the first step of any journey of improvement. And ultimately, while no two paths will be identical, discovering your own philosophy and embracing it will certainly help you make an initial contact with those offering comfort, with those that are wanting to help you. With this being said, I want to encourage you to reach out so that you may be able to reach in. I have a number of places for you to reach out at calmitdownpodcast.com. There are places in the States, there are places in the UK, I have some listed for India, I have some listed for the Philippines. I want to encourage you to reach out to these places. And also, I've decided that I'm going to put my efforts where my mouth is. Starting in January, I want to bring the conversation forward with you personally. Starting in January, I'm going to host at least once a month, if not twice, an online community conversation. It's an open invitation for all of us to gather remotely and to simply just talk, to share, to listen, to be there for others, and to be the other when you need the ear as well. And it's something I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and I feel that 2023 is no better time than to begin. Now, while undecided yet as to the avenue, it could be Zoom, it could be Twitch, it could be YouTube Live, I want this to be something that furthers the conversation and begins to destigmatize the conversation around mental health. If you're interested, please sign up to my email list at calmitdownpodcast.com, or you can email me at chad@calmitdownpodcast.com. If you have a preference between which platform, Zoom, Twitch, or YouTube Live, please share that with me as well, as that would be super helpful in knowing which direction. But let's talk, literally. Let's bring this discussion from the shadows and into the light. And it's easy to feel overwhelmed and hopeless when the weight of our worries start to bear us down. Try to remind yourself that those feelings are just one of life's many colds, if you will. And while today's episode has me sounding like there's cotton up my nose and that my throat is a desert, I wanted to be honest with where I am today. I wanted to show you that it's okay when life knocks you down. And I wanted to show you that even with this cold, I'm still the same person. So even with your struggles, even with what you are going through, you are still an unbelievably beautiful, unique, strong, amazing person who has a voice, who wants to reach out, not only to be able to reach in, but who also wants to reach out to be able to help others as well. This cold is going to pass. It's going to be gone soon, and before I know it, I will feel like my normal self again. No matter what you're dealing with on any level, there will be a time of climbing out of this haze that you're in, where you will be able to feel like you. Patience, learning what remedies work for what ails you, and obviously the most important of all steps, the reach. Reaching out for support, reaching inward in reflection. It all starts with reaching out to feel better within. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, hear the musical playlist from today's episode, or simply wanting to know where to send chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. You're not alone. You are not alone. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized sweet tooth. And now something my attorney wants me to say. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and is not intended to, nor should they serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you, and you should only act upon the advice of such physician. Now, what I like to say. I am an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this and future podcasts in aiding those needs. To find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And finally, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of emotional health. I'm Chad Lawson, and until next time, be kind to your mind. And join me next week as we calm it down.